is Scott Welch, Muscle Insider Magazine. We're here with Shawn Wells, the ingredientologist, best-selling author for the Energy Formula. Listen, Shawn, I want to start off by just asking, how did you get into the industry? Because I know you are a registered dietitian, you have that background. Take us through a little bit about that and then how you got into the supplement industry.
Yeah, that was, man, going back to the days of creatine had just come out. I was body dysmorphic. I was obese, and I just started working out, and I decided to really get into it when creatine had come out, and looking at all these muscle magazines, and I was hitting the gym pretty hard, and I was seeing my body transform, and I started to believe in the power of protein. I started to believe in the power of creatine and some of these other ingredients I was taking back then. I think like glutamine and Vanadil and all that stuff.
Vanadil sulfate. That's right.
And I was seeing great results. And I went to my doctor. My doctor was like blown away because, again, I had been, 300 plus pounds. I'd been very overweight. I was, eating a lot of garbage, very depressed. And he was just amazed. And I was excited about all these ingredients and what I was learning. And, every muscle magazine I could get my hands on, in Arnold's book and Mauro Di Pasquale's book and Dr. Colgan's book. Like I was just reading all of these things and becoming quite the expert on them. And I was telling him how amazing supplements are. And I was expecting my doctor to say, these are trash, right? Instead, he said, one, I believe at some point supplements will be outselling pharmaceuticals. And two, he, when I told him I was so passionate, he drew out a lifeline for me between 20 and 80 and said, why not be happy between here and here?
That's a good way of putting it.
And I was like, wow. Like I think he just, like I was in school for business at the time.
Okay.
And I was like, I think I want to pursue this as a job. I think I want to be a formulator because it was just so exciting what it had done for me and what I was telling other people about and watching other people like transform their bodies because I was reading on these things. I was spending more time in GNC than the employees. I was like reading all the labels, reading all the magazines, reading all the books, it's just, I was so excited by all this stuff. It was a whole new world to me. And I believed in the power of pills and powders.
Sure.
And that's where everything changed. And really Dr. Michael Colgan's book, Optimum Sports Nutrition, was a game changer for me too, because this was ahead of most of the supplement studies that we had seen. But he was taking his Olympic athletes and putting them on certain amino acid cocktails and then doing blood work or then doing performance tests and seeing the delta in performance or the delta in the blood work. And that was exciting to me that like this is a science that these can have real impact. And so I decided to pursue this. I had to get a lot of prereqs. So I went to UNC Greensboro. My parents were down in North Carolina. My dream was to get into UNC Chapel Hill, which has a very noteworthy nutrition program. I did get in there. I studied nutritional biochemistry. And became a biochemist and a dietitian. I worked for about 10 years clinically as a chief clinical dietitian in acute care and long-term care. All the while on my weekends, holidays, any free moment, I was on message boards. I was at conventions. I was at expos. I was traveling. I was answering questions on supplements. I was working at supplement shops. Like on Saturdays, I would be working at a local supplement shop, answering these questions, whether I was online or in person. I was just addicted to helping people, me stumbling into the next great product, which led me to, further kind of develop this idea of like, what is that great product and how could that be made? I was using so many of these products. I was getting sent a lot. I wasn't making a lot of money. I was getting a lot of product, but it allowed me to, one, try a lot of these products myself and understand them. Two, get a lot of feedback from customers on what was working because I was on all the message boards, because I was in the shops. I was asking these questions. I was hearing their feedback. And it felt good to be making impact with people on message boards, in shops, in the hospital, in nursing homes. I became the supplement guy. And then I started to be able to get a shot at not only educating or doing write-ups on these products, but then getting a chance to formulate. And I started doing that with Man Sports, I think like 20 years ago. And we came out with a slew of very innovative products that were full disclosure, that were no proprietary blends. We were first to market with citrulline malate, beta-alanine, creatine, orotate, sesamin, it just agmatine, first to the market with agmatine, raspberry ketones. I mean, it was just a slew of really innovative products and ingredients, and that's something that I'm proud of. And then I built from there. I ended up getting an amazing job with Dymatize, which is at the time one of the biggest supplement companies in the world, with 170 countries. They distribute to, and doing several $100 million. They got bought by Post after 3 years of me working with that company for $425 million. And we reshaped every product there, reflavored everything there, started coming out with more innovative products. And that led to that acquisition, and the job I did there led to me getting a job offer from BioTrust. And we took BioTrust, it was the premier direct-to-consumer supplement company, a very premium company that worked with affiliate models and worked with what's called like long form email copy and these kind of info videos that had the whiteboard drawing and all that. Like BioTrust was the first to do all that. And in that period of time, we went from 0 million to 150 million in just 2 years. So that was like lightning in a bottle, and I got to be a big part of that as the chief science officer there. And then, I started developing these ingredients like T-creen and dynamine, working with Dr. Hector Lopez, Dr. Tim Ziegenfuss, and Compound Solutions on that. And at that time, when I was, backtracking, going back to Dymatize, I had one supplier that stood out, and that was the kind of the crown jewel of all my suppliers, that one could just deliver every time. I didn't have to piecemeal like a lot of my formulations across 10 different suppliers. His price was consistent and amazing, and if there was ever an issue, he would make it right. Every time I tested these ingredients third party, I would always qualify my raw materials. Everything tested out every single time. And it's just like, wow, this guy is just like on point every time. Like, great service, stuff tests out, great human being. I'm like, and his desire is to be the best. Like, he had a desire to have legacy. He said he wanted his kid's kid to be a part of this.
Wow.
So he got it. And he worked with me directly and kind of started asking what I'm looking for. And we started developing ingredients. And that's actually, the guy that helped develop T-creen and dynamine with me, and Dr. Hector and Dr. Tim. So he was a huge part of that. He was the guy that I worked with to come out with ketones, to be the first, company to come out with ketones on the market, including the active isomer, the D or the R form. Really groundbreaking stuff that we've done together. And then he decided, let's do something on a bigger level. And he brought me on as the chief science officer.
This is at NNB Nutrition.
At NNB Nutrition with Kai Lin. And then since then, that company has become, a global company that's in 15 different countries, has over 100 scientists, has a 400,000 square foot facility that's GMP, that's state of the art, literally leading the world in fermentation technologies, the cleanest technology that's natural versus like standard chemical synthesis. Working with the top organic chemists in the world, a top 5 organic chemist in the world that worked at Glaxo, that worked at Pfizer, to develop some of these ingredients with us in terms of the optimization of how it's created. So really, like, just mind blowing what I've been able to do with him. And we've come out with these really revolutionary ingredients, things like BABA, MITOBURN, this signal for intense exercise, dihydroberberine, also called GLUCOVANTAGE, the glucose disposal agent that outperforms everything. The ketones, like we said, the active isomer, we pioneered that. The C8 Vantage, the caprylic acid MCT, that's the most ketogenic. I mean, the list goes on and on. Tetrahydrocurcumin, which is a downstream metabolite of curcumin. We've developed so many great ingredients. And then from there, we decided to really come up with a unique company that is me, Kai Lin, Dr. Ralph Yeager, Dr. Martin Purpura, called Ingenious Ingredients. And that's our intellectual property hopper, if you will, or catalyst. And Kai Lin is funding that, and he's also backing the research and doing the manufacturing, the optimization of these ingredients. Dr. Ralph Yeager's helping with the study design and some of the relationships in the industry. Dr. Martin Purpura is really good with the intellectual property filing. And then I get to come up with all these cool ideas. And, it takes about 3 years to take an ingredient through this process and get the intellectual property filed on it, to get the studies done on it, to get the GRAS and toxicology work done on it so it's safe in food and beverage. And then sometimes some of these ingredients just don't work out, like in terms of the data, in terms of the finances and the economics of the ingredients, or the stability of the ingredients, or the sourcing of the ingredients. There's a lot to it, and sometimes they just don't work out to come to market. And so we're working on about one ingredient a quarter that's really getting like this full pedigree, this robust intellectual property coverage, and bringing them to market. Ingredients like Infinity, the paraxanthine, the caffeine metabolite for energy, focus, nootropic benefit, and RAMPS, the rapid action muscle protein synthesis dipeptide, dileucine, that's really exciting for taking leucine up several levels in terms of the way it optimizes muscle protein synthesis and actually can prevent muscle protein breakdown. So very exciting ingredients that we're working on. There's several more I can't talk about yet, but NNB is at the heart of all this in terms of their quality control, in terms of their regulatory, their ability to invest in the world's best scientists, their ability to invest in me and my ideas. And these facilities are second to none, like literally on a top tier pharmaceutical level that they're doing work. The investment has been literally putting every dollar into equipment and top tier facilities. So, and having the right people in those facilities to run that equipment, to run these. They're doing studies in-house now. They're like with animal model labs and in vitro labs. So we're doing some really cool stuff to test out these concepts before they come to market, so that we can have that data, we can have that confidence in these ingredients as we develop them.
And you're based obviously in Texas, and you've got a handle on everything that's kind of going on in the industry here. But for the supplement companies out there, obviously supply chain is a huge issue right now. But how important is quality control now that shortages are here? And how does NNB sort of help assure their customers and the end consumer that they're getting what's on the labels in the product?
Again, just when you talk to Kai Lin, like there's no other way than legacy. There's no other way than the right way, and that's what he proved out to me over about 7 years before I even teamed up with him. That I felt like I was a partner with him from day one, and I watched situations that cost him hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to make right that he took on the chin.
Wow.
And I saw that happen about 3 different times that, he's like, we'll fix this. Like, that this is the kind of thing that that other companies would let slide. And this was earlier on in the process when he didn't have as much control. But now he has ultimate control. Everything is made in-house. He has all the literally the highest level of equipment, the highest level of scientists, the highest science that's happening there. And then he has NNB USA that distributes these ingredients and has them stocked in the US. And again, we're using scientists from 15 different countries around the world. So this is a global operation. We're funding research at a number of American universities like Texas A&M, Linwood University, et cetera. So it's just top tier across the board. As far as supply chain, there has never been a point that I've seen NNB have an issue with that. All it means is that we ramp up our buffer stock that we have. And again, we are making our own ingredients. And a lot of this stuff is happening because chemical synthesis and all the raw materials that are going into that. When you're doing fermentation, it's a clean process that, China's getting, more locked down on ecological issues. Fermentation is a clean process. And it's also a more cost optimal process if you have the equipment to do that and you have the science long run. It's very difficult to get into on the front end, but long run, it's where you want to be and where everything's moving. Kailin is already leading the world. NNB is already leading the world at doing that. We've already been 5 years into developing all of this. Most of the ingredients we work on at this point are fermented or heading down that path. So for us, it's not difficult at all.
It's interesting that you have obviously the science background and you've teamed up with a company that can deliver. And with the supply chain issues that we're all facing right now and we're seeing in the industry, it's great to see that you guys have stock that's here, the machinery, and it's completely vertically integrated. This is great. Thank you so much today, Shawn, for taking the time to talk to us about NNB Nutrition and what you're doing. We're really excited about the new ingredients you have also coming out there for Muscle Insider fans.